number one thing a man can have, the number one thing is being comfortable in his own skin. Social media is not socializing, because people like doing business with people they like. No matter what business you're in the people business. So my first year, I made a whopping $5,000 in a year. Made $100,000 my second year. Oh my God. You know, there's only two ways to have more money. You can either make more or you can spend less. You know, what's investing? Investing is two things, time and compound interest. So if you plant a tree, check back in 20 years. Oh my God, look at the size of this tree. That's money. That's investing.
You must be a maven in information. If you're not a maven in information, you're never going to succeed in any business deal. Never. Welcome, everybody, to the Rabbi Benny Show. Today, we have a happening guest, a good friend of mine for a long time. Feels like it's a long time, even though it's a short amount of time.
Fast friends, within a year.
Within a year.
Sometimes when you know what they say.
No doubt. So we were introducing our good friend here, Mr. Adam Sosnick, partner of VT, co-host of PBD, host of his own channel, the Sos Talk Money.
Yes.
Yeah, Talks Money, right? And I appreciate for inviting us to your show, by the way. And I appreciate being on our shows as well. And we are here now with our new channel, the Rabbi Benny channel. I'm calling it RB podcast, by the way. Easier. R&B podcast.
R&B,
Rabbi Benny, you know.
We got Velvet DeVoe and some Lauryn Hill. We got it.
So I wanna introduce a concept, because I always see you wearing this, and we'll open it with this if you don't mind. I always see you wearing the pin of Valuetainment, and your pin is a lion, right?
Yes.
So there was a rabbi in the time of the 1300s. His name was the Rashba. It's short for Rabbi Shlomo Ben Aderet. He was known historically to be the king of Torah at that time. In Jewish law, they say 1,000 rabbis in scholarship work cannot ever go and argue against the Rashba. That's how big he was. So they asked him a question. I'll give you the paper. You can take it to read it more in detail. But they asked him a question. Are you allowed to engrave on silver or gold for healing purposes the figure of a lion? That means a lion on silver or gold had properties of healing. And they were asked, are you allowed to do that? Is it considered Jewish to do that? Is it part of Jewish law? Is it allowed to do at any time? Whether it's in the Talmudic discussion, he brings out different sources, and he brings down his own rabbi. So there's Maimonides and there's Nachmanides. And Nachmanides.
This whole time I thought it was just Maimonides.
No, it's
Nachmanides.
Nachmanides.
Yeah,
You got that. Yeah, it's got a. I know it's hard to say, so
I can do the cha.
No, you got the cha. So Nachmanides, it says, Rabbi Moshe, son of Rabbi Nachman of Blessed, would indeed make the lying figure for that particular ailment you refer to, and he was not concerned about any prohibition whatsoever. So the beauty of the Minect logo and the Valuetainment logo, but Minect is a little bit also with the lion. If you look at it, it's with the M and the lion. I don't know if you guys have seen that, right? That logo is properties of ancient healing. Look at that. And you truly, as a team, are really healing the country in mind and ideology and set. I mean, you guys were big in Trump's election night.
So I hear.
Yeah. Listen, I think it's true. Without PBD, without Joe Rogan, without you guys at all. I mean, there's no PBD without the home team, right? You guys have the home team, and then that brings you the ability to get all these other big players. And I think, and I give you guys hands up, every member, especially you, since you're here.
Thank you.
Right? And thank you for coming. And I just want to open up with that. Welcome. Talk to us. Who is the Adam?
So who's the Adam with the lion, the PBD? The
Benny, what's going on?
R&B, Maimonides, Nachmanides. You got the cha. Well, first, more than anything, happy Hanukkah.
Oh,
it is Hanukkah.
Sameach.
I'm here on the R&B show, Rabbi Benny, not the R&B show. So maybe, but I got you a little Hanukkah present.
No way. Okay.
You got me a present.
Yeah.
We're going to do it right now.
Yeah.
So, last night you got me multiple presents.
Right.
You sent me something to my office.
Yes.
A beautiful picture.
Yes.
Of the Rabbi.
Right.
Amazing. Thank you.
Always.
And then last night you got me tefillin.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal because I can't find my tefillin. It's been many years, and we just FaceTime with my young buddy Yossi that's been rapping all the big celebrities from
I'm still
Bill Ackman to Lil Dicky to Michael Rappaport to all the big Jews out there. And I think he's going to get Drake soon. We'll see. But you gave me my own tefillin, and I appreciate that. Always. For you, I got you a little, it's not tefillin, but it's something just to represent the friendship, not only for me, but the Valuetainment team and the PBD team. Okay. And we want you to represent when you're out on the streets.
Wow.
I want you to have your own PBD podcast shirt. So you say, I'm a friend of the show. I'm a friend of Adam. I'm a friend of PBD.
Definitely.
That's it.
And
I put it in a nice tefillin bag. I could have. Gotcha.
You got me. I thought I was going to get a fifth pair of tefillin here.
I re-gifted tefillin. I didn't like my Hanukkah gift. Here's some more tefillin.
Yeah, listen, honestly, I appreciate PBD. Remember, I told you the Gematria PBD, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing. That name is I don't even know how to fold it.
Don't worry, just put it away.
No, awesome.
We got our friend Joe here. We got Aaron, AB, AM, DJ AM.
AM.
But yeah, no, it's great. I
appreciate the gift, man.
You asked a question about PBD, the lion, the everything. Look, I'm just, they say, you ever see the movie? This is a weird analogy. You ever see the movie Austin Powers?
Yeah.
Okay. So he walks in and he's like, "Oh, I got to get my mojo back." And he said, "Hey, there you are." And the guy goes, "Do I know you?" And the guy goes, "No, but there you are. You're right there." The point is, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm where I am, how I started my life, how I live my life. And this is for most people. You are where you're supposed to be. So at Valuetainment, side by side with one of the greatest leaders, I think, on the face of the planet today, Patrick Bet-David, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I think it's been incredible. I think it's been encouraging. I think me personally, I've grown. I think our audience has grown. The stories I hear from entrepreneurs, the stories I hear, even the young guy, Chaim, that gave a speech last night, it's incredible what we're doing. So, and the impact, sometimes you don't realize the impact because you're so close to it. They say you can't see the forest through the trees because you're so close to it. So the amount of entrepreneurs that come up, you have no idea what Valuetainment, what PBD, what you guys have done for my career. It's incredible. And Patrick started this show and the Valuetainment, and it's been 10 years. I've been there 5 years. So credit goes to him. The amount of people that have come up to me and says, "You have no idea. Thank you for what you've done to help win this election." So we're helping to win elections, and it completely galvanized in my mind when we were just at a turning point. And with Charlie Kirk does this big event called AmFest, America Fest, and they flew us out. And, we went out there, and they put us up, do a whole thing, and each night there was a keynote speaker. And Thursday night, it was Ben Shapiro. Friday night, it was PBD. Saturday night, it was Charlie Kirk, who hosts the event, throws the event. And Sunday was a guy called Donald Trump, President Donald Trump. So I said, wow. Of all the speakers, they had, the list goes on and on and on of amazing speakers. I said, they had PBD close it out, and he crushed, by the way. So sometimes you don't realize how close you are to greatness because you're just like, oh, it's my guy. So the credit goes to him. And, last night we had a fun conversation with some of your partners.
Right. And
he basically tried to explain to me why Scottie Pippen was equal, if not better than Michael Jordan. I said, no. We're not even going to do this respectfully. Let's not even, no. He's like, well, Hakeem Olajuwon and Larry Bird. I said, there's only one Michael Jordan.
Right.
And if you're Scottie Pippen and you're the second best player on the team or the second best player in the league, you got to give credit to the number one guy. So I'm recognize that. I appreciate that. And I'm fully comfortable saying that PBD is the guy, and I'll gladly be his second in command, lieutenant, general, captain, however you want to kind of put it. But credit goes to the man at the top. Credit goes to the vision, the visionary. Do you ever read the book Barbarians to Bureaucrats?
No, it's actually
Amazing book. It's talking about the life cycle of a company, and it starts with the prophet. So whether it was Apple and Steve Jobs, whether it was Microsoft and Bill Gates, whether it's Tesla and Elon Musk, whatever it is, it starts with a guy, I want to build this. That's the entrepreneur. And then there's barbarians and flag carriers that are like, all right, I'm in. Let's go. What do we got to do? We got to run over the hills. We got to take them out. The flag carriers are in the front. I got this. Follow me. That's who I am. I'm a flag carrier. So you asked about the pin. Why do I wear the lion? Why do I do this? I'm representing. I represent because this is a few things for me. This is valuetainment. In Judaism, the lion is a massive deal.
Yes.
On the Torah's here.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes. I've seen, the double lion on my temple growing up. So the lion is a powerful animal and it represents many things, but more than anything, it comes down to I represent. I represent what I stand for. There's only 3 pins that I ever wear. I wear a Valuetainment logo. I wear a U.S. flag logo, and I have a U.S./Israel pin. That's what I represent. So in summary to your question, I put it on my left side because that's where my heart is. And I represent, by the way, I always have, whenever I talk politics, I have the U.S. Constitution right here. And then within it is my voter ID card, and it says registered independent. And that's who I am, a registered independent. And why is it important to be independent? Because, all right, I'm seeing what's going on here. I like what you said. The country right now needs a synergist to unify where we're at. And I believe that Valuetainment is a voice that is very powerful. And we're trying to bring people together and befriend even people that might have been considered enemies. And that's what we want to do. So credit goes to the man that started the whole thing. And I'm a proud flag carrier and represent.
Wow, awesome. And just in light of our friend who said about Scottie Pippen, his point was also that he was undervalued, right? But sometimes people make themselves undervalued, and therefore other people's undervalue you. So it's a lot of innuendos there, and obviously Michael Jordan always said without Scottie Pippen, he would have never gotten those rings as well. So where you have a leader that can recognize his second hand, but the second hand cannot recognize the leader, then you have a problem. That's no doubt about that.
You ever read 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene?
No.
Rule number 1, you don't outshine the master. So in your house right now, you're the guy. This is your domain. iShook.com. This is where we're at. .io.
.io.com.
We got iShook everywhere. But in your house, in your domain, credit goes to Rabbi Benny. Your son here, great flag carrier over here, getting the sufgan, boom, getting the coffee, boom. Aaron over here, but you're the guy. So the goal here is to give the general, the leader, the master his shine, but also carve a path for your own. Because the last thing that you want to be is a yes man. I think why PBD respects me, because he knows that I'm the furthest thing from a yes man. Now, 80% of the time I agree with him because he's quite often right. But there's also times I'm like, I don't know about that. And I'm not even saying on the podcast, I'm saying in general. The ability to, would you call it pilpul?
Pilpul, yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of go back and forth.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? It allows you to process issues. It allows you to find the truth. Don't outshine the master, but at the same time, have a backbone and be yourself.
No doubt. I like that. That's very important. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm putting a lot of effort in this venture with podcasting. First of all, podcasting, by the way, thanks for the shout out in the election night. You didn't have to do that as well. I mean, that was huge. Did you get flack from that? Why are you shouting at the rabbi? What do you mean? What's the
I'm
rabbi?
going to get flack for shouting at a rabbi.
I don't know.
My friend, is a rabbi?
I'm just asking. I don't know.
Zero flack.
Okay, cool. So, that night really showed me one thing very powerful. How the shift is happening and most people are not seeing it except for a few. And the shift is like I'll give you an example. My assessment with robotics. People are saying, oh, robotics is going to change the future. It's going to make a lot of people not work anymore. They're going to lose jobs because of robotics, right? But people are not looking at the other side. there's right now potential decrease in world population. And if you have a decrease in world population, China and all these manufacturing companies are going to need those robotics to replace the decrease in population and workforce, because we're living longer. We want more. People want to be more. They want to live their life more than just bringing children or whatever it is, whatever their ideologies are, or whatever their necessary the things that they want to do. I mean, in Judaism, we believe you have to bring in children. It's a must. It's a nuclear family. You know, you build the next generation. You build your legacy, and you are essentially immortal through your own children, right? So the number one reason why I do bring, and we had Daniel last week, we have you this week. Next week we have Rafi. The reason why is we want to learn, and I want to show the younger crowd how you make new money. Because the old way of making money, it's not going to exist in the next 5 years. It's not. So I give an example. And I push my son or any son to do this. Electricians and plumbers are the new millionaires. And one thing that people don't know in New York City has revoked thousands of plumber licenses and electrician licenses.
Really?
Yeah.
Revoked why?
Because they self-certify. New York City is the only self-certification process in the whole country.
What is self-certify?
Basically, you can sign off. Yeah, I did the job right. Take my word for it. No other state.
When you do the job.
Yeah. When you
not to get the degree,
get the permit,
or the qualification.
No. When you're already a licensed plumber, you can say, okay, I did this job. I did it kosher, no problem.
Okay.
And what ends up happening a lot of times when they do inspections, they find out, oh, this was done really bad.
No accountability, right?
No accountability. So what do? They revoke people's licenses.
Okay.
So what happens is in New York City, you have thousands of people, and you can't have robots to do plumbing.
No.
Well, how many robots are you going to need to dig the sewer line that needs to be fixed because there's a leak in the line? You still need a regular person to know where to dig, how to dig, and do it. We're not there in that level yet. Maybe that's in 100 years from now, but we're not there yet. But we are for sure in a precipice where watch industry is dying out. Why would you buy a watch when you can buy an iWatch, right? Like the phones are becoming more luxury than diamonds and bling, right? I'd rather buy in my phone. I'd rather have an iPhone than buy an extra necklace. So the industries are changing. The money is changing. And what you guys are doing, and you guys are changing the way we look at business, not just life. And that's the benefit that we have having individuals like you in the arena, so to speak, of entrepreneurship, of podcasting, of informational dissection, right? Like you're dissecting information in every show you guys do. And it's maybe wrong, maybe right. That's for others to decide, right? And that's for the reality, the outcomes to show whether you're right or wrong. So my biggest question will be saying all that. It's a long Megillah, long introduction.
I'm here for the Megillah, baby.
All right, brother. So question.
Yes.
First question is, what made Adam the person that he is now?
Huh.
Tell us your life story. Like,
you mean other than my parents?
Well, we don't want to get that far.
I know
Daniel goes that far. Like, he explains it, right? But where did you grow up?
Sure.
How did you get into this business lifestyle? Right. I mean, because I know you're a very successful business person. People don't really know how successful you are. You keep a lot of things hush hush, but we want to pull out, the information, extract everything.
So, are you familiar with the rule of three?
No, teach me.
So, one of my best friends, and I'll give him a shout out, Adrian. He was one of the youngest correspondents that CNN ever hired. He always said, "Listen, anytime you're going to talk, anytime you're going to give a speech, anytime you do a podcast, rule of three, beginning, middle, end, 1, 2, 3. When you're telling a story, it's important to kind of have an outline of where you're at. So my life in the rule of three, in my teenage years, in my 20s, jack of all trades, master of none, right? So I was, I grew up in Miami. My father was a disabled businessman. He had cerebral palsy.
Wow.
So he was, it looked, if you saw him, you'd be like, oh, it's a tall, good-looking guy. But when he spoke and when he walked, it would look like he had a stroke. And he was, you ever see the movie Forrest Gump?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so you remember when Forrest was running and he had like the braces on his knees and, he ran out? That was basically my dad, but smart. So imagine you can't walk so good, you can't talk so good, but you're smart. And he's a big guy, bigger than me, right? I'm 6'2", he was 6'2", 2, whatever. And my mother was the most empathetic, loving, we just FaceTime with her, nurse And here's this businessman that let's just say he hung out with some unsavory characters, and my mother that was like, if she cursed or told a lie one time, it would be one time too many, right, for her. So you have this like yin yang situation going on, and so growing up in Miami, and we got by on disability insurance, and we just kind of we got by, but there was a lot of love, but a lot of issues in the family. My father was a big physical guy. If I could count on, if I had a nickel for every time that I got smacked around, I'd be a gazillionaire right now. So it toughened me up, and it made me realize that life is not easy. Life's not fair. And, you're going to get smacked around, whether it's in your house or in the outside world. So get ready for everything you face, buddy. So I had a couple good qualities that made me who I am today. Number one, I always had a good sense of humor. So my father, despite all the challenges, he was a funny guy. You ever see the movie Goodfellas? He's like, "Oh, you're funny. Funny how? Funny like a clown." So for me, I like to joke around, but for him, if you got too funny, you'd get a smack. But and I was always a good athlete. And in high school, I got a sports scholarship to one of the more elite private schools in Miami. I was a basketball player and a football player, all county basketball, all county football. Played football in college, and eventually didn't like where I ended up in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'll tell you that whole, what do you call it? Rigmarole. What do you call it in Yiddish or in Hebrew? And it's like, Meshuggah, whatever.
Okay.
I'll tell you that story in a little bit.
Mishigas.
I'll tell you that story in a little bit. But I was always a good athlete, and I was always a good networker, and I was always good at having friends and valuing relationships. And even my senior year, they said, you get, in the yearbook, you win the, what's the word called? When you make it into the yearbook and you get the valedictorian, smartest.
Oh, right. You get like some sort of
I forget
title.
what the hell the name of the word's called. Your whatever it's called. Look it up for me. When you're when you win awards in high school, it starts with a P. It's been that long. They said you won funniest in the class, but you also tied for best athlete. Which one do you want? Do you want to be the funniest or I said, I'll give the funniest. I won that. And my buddy was a great soccer player. He won the best athlete. So I was a funny athlete. Did you find the word? Awards, high school awards. It starts with a P. I'm losing my mind here. Anyway, that was me. And so in college, I went to Florida State, ended up being sort of a man around town, winning all, having fun, win friends and influence people. And I got into Miami, and again, I was a jack of all trades, master of none. And I'll never forget, I'm 25 years old.
Is it Point Care Prize?
No.
The Merit Scholarship.
High school awards yearbook. It'll pop up. Starts with a P. Why can't I think of the word? I'm sorry, guys out there. If you ever want anything in your yearbook, I'm so sorry. But I basically realized, listen, I'm having all this fun. I'm making all these connections. I'm doing stand-up comedy. I'm telling jokes. I'm throwing parties. I'm doing nightlife. I'm meeting everybody. But the only problem is this one thing, Benny.
It says we have Superlative awards.
I'm dead broke. Superlatives.
Superlative. Okay, I said it wrong.
I thought I started with a P. Superlatives.
I'm like,
looking for P. I'm sorry. Superlatives.
I just want to tell you guys.
Yes.
This is the value of learning how to research. Everyone else was looking, but I found it.
I saw it too.
But you didn't say it. It's all good. Anyway, Adam, go ahead. I apologize.
So superlatives. For my high school friends out there, superlatives. So I said, let me utilize, and this is actually a message right here to all the young people who are maybe considering what they were going to do. Let me utilize all my skills and my assets and play to my strengths rather than trying to overcompensate for my weaknesses or what is not my strengths or what I'm not good at. So what am I good at? I'm good at schmoozing. I'm good at networking. I'm good at bridging the gap. I'm good at, hey, have you guys met? You guys should talk. Relationship building, biz dev, sales, marketing, network. This is my wheelhouse. Now that came from stand-up comedy, understanding how to read a room. That came from nightlife and hospitality. Hey, welcome. How you doing? Honored to have you. It came from being in a situation where my father was a handicapped businessman and he only employed handicapped individuals. So at my dinner table growing up, I would have, back in the day, we used to just call them, it starts with the R word. I don't want to get canceled, but we know what these people are. Now that they're physically, mentally, emotionally challenged, I get. But these people had messed up issues, but I had empathy for these people. I would always, every year, go to the Special Olympics. So I said, let me put all my stuff together, and I got into financial sales. Why? Because people like doing business with people they like. No matter what business you're in the people business. No matter what it is. Social capital, the ability to, hey, how you doing, is completely undervalued these days because all the kids, they think social, they think this. Social media is not socializing. So I doubled down on my strengths, and I got a job as a cold caller for a startup financial firm, which brings me to phase 2 of my 3 phases. And what am I not good at? I'm not good at technical stuff. If you ask me to turn on these cameras and the computers, we'd still be sitting here eating soufganiyot. Like, it's not going to happen. I'm not the most analytical guy. I can't stay focused. I'm a butterfly. I want to be out there. So I said, let me play to my strengths. The Japanese, they call it ikigai. If you're wondering what you're going to do with your life, you can Google. There's something called ikigai. Ikigai. You ever heard of this word? Okay,
Ikigai.
The Koreans, they're reading the Talmud.
Right.
The Japanese, they're using ikigai. Now, they basically say, if you're not sure what you're going to do with your life, there's I think it's a 4 or 5 part ensemble. It's,
I know
what are you good at?
You guys have it.
What
in
does the world
Valuetainment.
need?
You have it in your what's it called?
What does the world need? What is the world willing to pay you for?
Right.
This sort of amalgamation to help you figure out what you're going to do in life. So I said, boom, this is what I'm going to be good at. Now, here's the problem. When you get into sales, when you get into networking, and you get into biz dev, and you get into this type of field, everyone these days wants to get rich quick, or they want to basically have success immediately. It doesn't work that way. So my first year, I made a whopping $5,000 in a year. Wow. Now, luckily, I had friends' couches I can crash on. I had people that would let me stay with them. I had always strong relationships. And boom, worked it out. And I believe in something called CPR. CPR will give you life. Consistent, persistent, resilient. Consistent, persistent, resilient. CPR. If you're ever in doubt, they say, oh, you're dying. CPR. So you got to give it. Do we have a doctor? CPR. Consistent, persistent, resilient. And I would say, listen, buddy, you're not making any money, but do you believe in this? Yes. Do you believe in yourself? Yes. Do you believe if you stick it out, you can do this? Yes. And then good things take time, brick by brick by brick by brick, call by call by call by call. Boom. Made $100,000 my second year. Oh my God. The most amount of money I ever made at this point in my life was $20,000 working in clubs.
Wow. And
I said, oh my God, I'm the richest guy I know. Turns out I wasn't. But it felt so good. It felt so good that I'd never had $10,000 to my name. I was dating a girl at the time, and I think I had like $15,000 in my checking account. And it was amazing. On this one commission deal, I made $20,000. It was the year that I made $100,000. And it felt so good, man. 10 years later, I became a millionaire, and now it's multimillionaire, but nothing felt better than that first $10,000. Because you know what $10,000 will do when you're a young guy? It'll do one thing for you. It gives you this feeling. I can breathe. I don't have to stress. I don't have to worry where my next check is coming from. $10,000 is a big deal. So I'm dating this girl, and I go to the ATM to pull out a couple $100. We're going out for dinner, whatever. And I accidentally drop the ATM receipt. Oh, babe, could you pick that up? And she's like, oh, wow. I was like, it was such a good feeling. But, I'm telling you.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
Yeah, laugh. But it was such a good feeling. I was 20.
And she bought that? She bought that? She
she bought it all right.
All right, I got it.
So, I
should probably say that's only one account.
There's
There's
more where that comes from, baby. And there was, because every year I stayed consistent, persistent, and resilient. I made more money and had more success and built more relationships and improved my reputation. And everything worked out well.
So based on what you said, I have a very important question. And I know that this is part of your thing. Before we go to phase 3, it's good to make the money, but it's also important to keep the money. How do you keep the money? How do you
save the money?
How do you save the money?
So
how do you stay a millionaire?
It's like the Seinfeld thing. It's like, you can take the reservation,
right?
But can you hold the reservation? Anyone can just take the reservation. But when I come to get the car, if there's no car here, you didn't hold the reservation. Remember that thing?
Yeah.
Anyone can make the money.
Right. But how do you
keep the money?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's a great point that you make there, because I met a lot of people in my days of, whether it's insurance, whether it's finance, whether it's social media, whether it's Miami nightlife partying. They're a king for a month, they're a king for a year, they're a king for a decade, and then boom, they didn't save that money. So I learned when I made my money for the first time, it was a very unique situation, because it was right before 2008. It was 2006, 2006. I made very little money, 5,000. 2007, 2008, I made my first 100 grand, and then boom, the world fell apart. So even if I felt like balling out, no, that wasn't happening. So what happened was, my business partner at the time, who basically recruited me, now he's a partner, but my mentor, he said, let me ask you, you had a good year, 26 years old, 27 years old, you made 100 grand, amazing. How much money did you lose in the market? I said, how much money did I lose in the market? Zero. I don't have any money in the market.
Wow.
The market went down 50%. People went from multimillionaires to losing half their wealth overnight. Obviously, if your money's in the market, obviously real estate crumbled, everything that's going on. And I'm seeing the world crumble all around me. Companies are going out of business. I'm in finance. Bear Stearns, we were doing stuff with, Lehman Brothers, all these things, Credit Suisse, all these companies. I'm like, what is happening right here? It's almost like a financial hurricane, and everything is just blowing away. So even if I did want to ball out the first time I made 6 figures, nobody in their right mind was doing it. My partner at the time had a sick Mercedes. And
in 2008.
2008, ridiculous Mercedes.
What kind? Well, which one was it?
I'm not a car guy. Whatever is like an expensive, ridiculous
Mercedes. Line, yeah.
Like there's the C class, S class. He had like VIP class, whatever it is. And then I remember he shows up one day in an Audi. I said, "What happened? What happened to Mercedes?" He goes, "I don't know. I gotta hunker down a little bit and cut some expenses, because it could be a bumpy ride for a little while." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I learned very quickly, the value of $1, because my dad, we collected disability checks, and I saw how hard he worked to even earn a normal living. And then all of a sudden, all these guys that were making millions and millions of dollars all around me in this new industry that I was in the insurance, life insurance settlement business, all of a sudden they're hunkering down. I said, uh-oh, let's pump the brakes here. And then another thing was, you said anyone can make the money, but how do you keep the money? How do you save the money? So, there's only 2 ways to have more money. You can either make more, or you can spend less. And I highly encourage everyone to do what I did. Improve your skill set, improve your place in the marketplace, improve yourself, read more, learn more, strategize more. In Valuetainment, we say outwork, out improve, out strategize, outlast, right? Okay, boom, 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 boom. That'll help with income, but also limit your expenses. Now, some people say, I can't limit my expenses anymore. Everyone has the same big 3 expenses: housing, transportation, and food and beverage. Beyond that, your Netflix account, your little subscriptions here, whatever. Okay, minor things, but those are the big 3 expenses. So I learned how to make more money, but also keep my expenses low. I always tell people, especially young people, Because life, as you know, Benny, with 3 kids, maybe God willing, a 4, we'll see. We'll see.
Bezrat Hashem, Bezrat Hashem.
I want to have a bunch of kids. As you get older, life becomes more expensive, right? Kids, costs, inflation, the whole deal. So I always tell young people, the key to life when you're young is low overhead and high flexibility. Keep your costs low and your flexibility and your ability high. What am I going to do? I always say, listen, I'm living in Boston. Now I'm living in Austin. Now I'm moving to Miami. Now I'm going to Miami, Ohio. Now I'm in Dallas. Now I'm in Detroit. I don't know where I'm going, but I know that if I've got money on me, I can take it with me and I keep my head on a swivel and I keep things flexible as long as I keep my costs low. So I kept my costs low and I saved the money, and I understood that money, we talked about earlier, playing the long game. What's investing? Investing is 2 things, time and compound interest. So if you plant a tree, you put the seeds in the ground, you give it water, you give it sun, the next day, the next week, the next year, where's my tree? Where's this tree? Check back in 20 years. Oh my God, look at the size of this tree. That's money. That's investing. It's going to take time. So if you're the type of person that every time the tree harvests fruit, you eat the fruit, you take the seeds, whatever, next thing you know, when there's winters coming, all of a sudden your tree is barren. So for young people, how they say, life is short, man. Life is short. You never know. No, life is actually long. You can live no problem to 80, 90, 100 years old. Some people live past 100. Life is precious. It can be taken from you like that, or you could live to 100. So I recognize that my skill set, that who I am, I'm playing the long game. I saw people, we talked about Madoff last night, some stuff like this. Yeah. There was guys in Miami, this guy, Nevin Shapiro, he was running a Ponzi scheme. I saw these guys party and, spend thousands of dollars popping bottles in Miami. And I said, for what? To look cool? I'd rather be wealthy than look rich. So for me, I'll give you one more anecdote, and then I'm going to give it over to RB, Rabbi Benny, RB. Here's the other thing that happened to me, is because there's a difference between, I made, I have an extra 10,000. There's a difference between, I have an extra 100,000. There's a difference between, I'm a millionaire now. There's a difference between like, oh my God, I got millions of dollars. What I've noticed is that super successful people will come to Miami right after they made their money, from New York, from San Francisco, Silicon Valley. And sometimes when you buckle down and you make your money, you don't have the time to like appreciate life. You don't have time to go on the yachts and go to the mansions and go to the parties. You don't have time. So they come to Miami, let's say they're 30 years old, 35 years old, 40 years old, 50, whatever, and they made their money. A lot of this happened during COVID, and they're exposed to this lifestyle. Oh my God, this is amazing. The parties, the women, the festivities, everything. And we're buying a boat, we're going out, we're going to the club. Benny, I've been doing that since I'm 21 years old, 18, but for the record, 21. I don't need to go to another mansion party. I don't need to go to another, go on another yacht. I don't need to do all this. So when I made my money, and as I'm making more money, I just save and invest, save and invest, save and invest. Every time I'm thinking about, all right, should I buy a Rolex? Should I buy a Mercedes? I buy a Bitcoin. Nobody knows. I'm not, hey, look at my Bitcoin. I don't care. The number one thing a man can have, the number one thing, is being comfortable in his own skin. Because competence will turn to confidence. Competence, accomplishments, confidence. And all of a sudden, me, I wear a watch that my grandfather gave me. All right. I wear nothing fancy. But if, they say that the suit doesn't make the man makes the suit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I abide by that. So the bottom line is there's plenty of things I could spend money on. I'm what is called a millionaire minimalist. I keep it simple. And I value relationships. I value friendships. I value partnerships. Because if you don't value those things, your ship is sailing. And I value that way more than material items. So America has a problem with materialism and consumerism and idolizing all these amazing things. The golden calf. Shout out to Moses. But I value relationships like this more than I do material items, and that's it. That's how I save the money.
That's unbelievable. I want to tell you a story with what we were doing. We were in the cryptocurrency. We are in the cryptocurrency business as well. We went to China with one of our leads. He said, "Oh, you got to meet this crypto billionaire. He's in China, Shanghai. He'll meet you there." So we go to China. I'm not gonna say the guy's name.
Yeah.
No, I'll say the guy who we were supposed to meet. His name is Sam Lee. I'm not going to say who the person who brokered the deal. We spend X amount of money. We go to China. We're about to meet Sam Lee. Where's Sam Lee? Sam Lee's not around. Okay, where's his wife? Wife is not around. Where's the team? Oh, it's on team. They take our phones. They put our phones in a certain place so we can't record. We can't do nothing. We sign contract. Oh, you got to give us $100,000. We're going to make your token in the Chinese market. I said, no. I said, this is if you want money from us, payment plan. What's the payment structure? What's the structure? So, okay, you got to give initial 20. I'm like, I'm not giving 100 up front. You want 20? So we gave 20 and 10. Yeah. We're about to hit 10, like 10 Chinese exchanges. I don't know what these exchanges. They say, oh, he's from Australia. He's got, a legitimate exchange registered by the government. Bada boom, bada bing. All of a sudden, COVID hits.
Yeah.
30,000 gone.
Yep.
That's it.
Could have been 100, right?
Could have been 100. But that's why I didn't give the 100. That's why I didn't give the 100 because, and then what ends up happening last year, we get a report, SEC sues Sam Lee for multi-billion-dollar Ponzi scheme.
Sounds like it's Sam Bankman-Lee.
It's almost, that's the Chinese version. And this is the Jewish version.
Sam Bankman-Lee.
He messed up big time.
Very disrespect the family.
No, this is like, so what I try to tell people, and this is, I think we have this in our communities as well, in general communities. People buy expensive houses, massive amounts of leases of cars. Like what they can lease a car, what's $2,000 Beamer or Maybach, they can lease 4 cars with the same amount of money, right? And what they're going for this Maybach, and they're spending $2,000, and they don't realize. Where's that money going to continuously come in?
Yeah.
All right. And where is that going to, and how are you going to be able to retain it? So unfortunately, within our community, we have a group of people who lost millions of dollars in a Ponzi scheme from another group of member, like from the Ashkenazi community. And people don't understand is that you have to value the dollar more than anything. But you also have to know how to invest the dollar.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to, like, how many billionaires were near foreclosures and they became billionaires? Like, I don't remember offhand, but there's a few of them that were telling their stories, how they were in foreclosures. They were in situations of the most lowest level. Even Elon Musk was in the lowest level. Tesla was going to go bankrupt because they weren't making any money. And he said, what did he do for 3 years? He slept under his desk in the factory for 3 years, like most uncomfortable thing. But he said, if I don't do it, they won't be encouraged to work harder. And he's made more millionaires than we can imagine by working for Tesla. So I always tell people, when you do a project, saving money is always the key. But you also got to know how to spend that money. Even though if you don't have that money, know how to spend, know where to spend first, right? So if you have no money and you have the last ability, like you said with the tree, to get the last seeds to grow this tree, you buy the last money you have to buy those seeds to grow that tree. Find other means during the interim to buy those fruits, because one day your orchard will bear fruit and finance thousands. So it's really how people have to think about it in business. And the only way you can really get to the long term is you got to train your mind for long term. I know a lot of people do the short term, but when you do short term, guess what? That's where you lose money fast.
Yep.
That's where you lose the money the fastest.
You ever read the book called The Richest Man in Babylon?
No, I did not.
It's amazing. You have all these books here.
It's all Torah
And
books.
it's all Torah books. And I've read all these financial books, The Richest Man in Babylon. So you asked a question earlier about, the world is changing so fast. And, what should the younger generation focus on, right?
Right.
So there's certain things that are universal that stand the test of time. And I read this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. This is when I was going through it, right? So I'm 25 years old. I'm my brokest friend. I'm crashing on friends' couches. I'm doing stand-up comedy. I'm doing nightlife. By 35, I've become a millionaire. Okay, what did I do? Habits that are timeless. And then by 36, I say, oh, wow, this is 2016, around that time. I said, oh, social media is a thing. I'm already late to the cool contest, meaning everyone was like doing the selfie thing. The girls are doing the duck face. Here I am, and I'm in Mykonos. And I'm like, all right, I'm late to the cool contest. No private jets. So let me start doing business content on Instagram. That's how I got started. And I asked PBD at the time, because I knew him. We met in 2012. This is 2016. I see what you're doing. He said, just get out there and do some stuff. So I start doing a couple different things. I start interviewing every single person I knew about money, right? And I went around, because doing my stand-up comedy days,
Right.
And I would just, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Tell me to financial advisors, estate planners, attorneys, CPAs, these types of people, all the way down to homeless people, broke people, people that get defaulted on their mortgages, people that are in credit card debt, whatever, and everyone in between, rappers, athletes, celebrities. What do you know about money? What do you know about money? And I realized that there's only 6 universal themes, right? What I call the 6 principles of wealth, or what I've coined the SAS 6. So I'll park that for a second. And then I'm reading all these books. How to Invest, The Boglehead's Guide to Investing, Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon. And The Richest Man in Babylon is a story about how the richest man in Babylon thousands of years ago became so wealthy and became the richest man in Babylon. And there's certain things that are timeless. Having a game plan for your money, which is a budget, understanding income versus expenses, eliminating the worst 4-letter word in the world, which is debt, DEBT. Now there's good debt and there's bad debt, but intrinsically debt is bad. It's losing money, losing the interest rate game. How do you win the game? Save money. All right, save that money. That's my catchphrase, my slogan, my motto. Now, when you save, after you save, you can become an investor, right? Grow your money over time. Then you need to protect your wealth. But then the biggest thing is understanding who do you want to be and what's your legacy, what's your dreams? And that's, a lot of people would define that as retirement. I became retired at 35. I call retirement, the modern day retirement, chilling. Chilling is when you own your time. They say time is money. Right. They say ROI, return on investment. What about ROT, return on time? Or ITR, investment time return. These are things that kind of are interchangeable. So what I realized at 35 was, wow, I own my time. I don't have to be anywhere at a certain time. I choose to be somewhere at a certain time. So what I realized is that everything is sequencing. Everything is sequencing. Before, I said this to you, I said you got to crawl before you walk before you run, before you do a marathon. In money, everything is sequencing. Red light, yellow light, green light. Red light is debt. 2/3 of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. The average American, I think, has about 100,000 per capita in debt. So if you're debt free, you're already better than 2/3 of Americans. Yellow is save. All right, I've saved $10,000, I told you. So $10,000 to someone might be the most amount of money they're ever going to have. $10,000 to someone living in New York City is pocket change. Depends on where you're at. But then the green light is becoming an investor. But then you've ever been driving on the street and you hit the green and then it's another green light and another green light. Yeah. And oh my God, I got all the greens. Let's go. Right. That's what it is to be an investor. You're not getting stopped. There's no red lights. There's no yellow lights. It's just you're going. So where I'm at right now is I'm just on green. Now, we're always going to have bumps in the road and challenges. We all know that. But if you can get out of the red in debt, you can get past the red to yellow, which is I'm saving, I'm have a cushion, and you can get to the green, if you play your cards right and you don't go backwards or get in a car accident or forget to do a car payment or get your car towed or get your car repossessed, boom, you're going on green. So now I hang with Patrick, who this guy is just greener than the green screen behind behind us. That's who you learn from. So I'll never forget this one guy you talked about, a Maybach, right?
Yeah.
Buying a Maybach, right? Bringing it back. So I'm interviewing this guy, D1, famous rapper. And he comes out with this song, and it's about a Maybach. Okay. I said, oh, yeah, you did a song about a Maybach. He goes, but it's not the song that you're thinking it's about. I said, really? It's about a Maybach. What am I thinking about? He goes, all the rappers, they want to drive a Maybach. You know what I want to do? I want to pay Sally Maybach. I said, what? He said, everyone wants to drive a Maybach, but me, I'm paying Sally Maybach. Now, Sally Mae is the big student loan
right. That's
conglomerate, right? Aggregator that owns all the student loans. So what's the advice from the song? I give him a shout out every single time because the song's maybe 10 years old. He said, before you can buy the Maybach, you better pay Sally Maybach. And that's the biggest problem. You have no idea how many people I would interview, man on the street. During COVID, I did this. I was down in Miami. Remember, there's all the stimulus checks. There were so many stimulus checks being passed around. They gave them nicknames. I got a stimmy check. They're getting nicknames to all the free money. And I think it was like $1,400 for each person, whatever the number was. I didn't qualify. I doubt you qualified.
No,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're making too much money, you're not relying on the government. You don't get anything, right? So I didn't get anything. So I went around.
You're not Bukhari. You don't know how to do
I got the Bukhari.
You don't know how to be a millionaire and still get the money.
Listen, I'd rather be Bukhari than drive a Ferrari. That's all I got to say. So I'm going on the streets and I interviewed this one girl, I'll never forget. I said, did you get a stimulus check? Oh, yeah, I got a stimulus check. I said, what'd you get? $1,400? She goes, $1,400. I got like $5,800 or $5,600, something like. I said, yeah, what do you mean? She goes, I got dependents. Okay. I got $1,400 for every kid.
Right.
Yeah, $5,600. Yeah. I said, how many? I got 3 dependents. So I said, how much money did you get? $5,600. Oh, how much did this trip to South Beach cost you? $5,600. I said, you spent all your stimmy money on a trip to South Beach?
That's a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. I said, why didn't you put that money to pay off debt or pump it into a Roth IRA? She goes, what's a Roth IRA? So everyone wants to, now that girl, I don't know where she is now. I interviewed her. I can almost guarantee you, she's still living check to check. I guarantee you she probably has debt. I guarantee you she hasn't invested. And I can guarantee you this, she's blaming somebody other than herself. When, listen, honey, we're all the culmination of the decisions that we make. Why do they think they call it personal finance? Why do they call it self-esteem? Why do they think they call it personal responsibility? Because it's on you, buddy. It's on you, honey. You made the decision to go ball out and have the time of your life in South Beach and spend $5,600. That's not yours. That's also your likely 3 kids, dependents. But you made that decision. But the person, and shout out to you if you did it, who said, all right, someone gave me $1,400 or someone gave me $2,800. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to go buy new clothes. I'm not going to go do a trip. I'm going to pay off debt. I'm going to open up a Roth IRA. I hear that guy, Adam Sosnick, talk about, man, it ain't the cool thing to do. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to see my new fur coat or new handbag, but I'm going to be debt free. And that's the coolest thing ever out there. Do you know who became the richest man during COVID? Everyone thinks it's Elon Musk. Everyone thinks it's Jeff Bezos.
Who is it?
It was a guy called Bernard Arnault. Bernard Arnault owns a company called LVMH, Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. He's the richest man in France, the richest man in Europe. He became the richest man in the world during COVID. Why? Because everyone got their stimmy checks and they ran off to Louis and Chanel and Gucci, and he owns all those companies. Massive conglomerate. Became the richest man in the world, ahead of Elon, ahead of Bezos, ahead of Zuck, ahead of Warren Buffett. Bernard Arnault. Most people in America don't know this guy, but they know Louis They know that Louis handbag. They know that Louis luggage. They're popping bottles. They got that Moet.
So they all spend the money on
They all
that
spend the
life.
money. But then what happens is reality sets in. And, Elon Musk is by far and away the richest man in the world. Now, I don't think it's even close. Bernard Arnault is still, look it up, still in the top 5. Look him up. And everyone spent their stimmy checks. So, I get a lot of heat for not feeling sorry for people. Oh, you don't understand how tough it is out there, man. You don't understand that it's difficult out there. I get it. But at the same time, you also have choices in life. My father was a handicapped, disabled businessman with cerebral palsy. And he got up every day and worked. He didn't have to rely on the government. He got disability checks. He could have sat around all day, but no, he worked. He started a company. I'll never forget, he made it into the newspaper. Disabled businessman employs other disabled business. And it was this whole write-up. I was like, wow, look at my dad. He could sit around. And he didn't. He never felt a victim. He never felt sorry for himself. If you go down the victim route, life sucks. Let me tell you something. You're never going to win. Why? There's always going to be someone worse than you. Oh, you're handicapped. Well, this guy's handicapped and disabled and blind. This guy is a handicapped, disabled, Native American, trans in a wheelchair. This guy is a half black, half Persian cat person, DEI. Like, there's always going to be someone worse than you. Okay, so you can go down the rabbit hole of victimhood, but the best thing you could do is look in the mirror and say, it's on you, buddy. It's on you. This is why I said, people get, I get heat for, it's so tough being an entrepreneur. It's so tough. You signed up for this. You signed up to start a business. It is tough. I have so much respect for small business owners. Small business owners are the engine that makes the American economy run. You signed up for a tough life. You know what it's like. So you could have an easy, cushy job making your 60 grand, but no, you want more. Now you got me going here.
Let me interject a little bit. All right, let's.
But I'm going to tell you one thing.
Go ahead, shoot.
I'm going to say one thing and then.
Go ahead.
So, but this is more of a shout out to the entrepreneur, because the Kid Chaim gave an amazing speech last night about how Judaism and entrepreneurship are interconnected, and it started with Abraham. I'll give you one more. So I'm very open. I believe in radical transparency. So I used to go out and party a lot in South Beach in Miami. This was part of my life. And one night I end up at this after party, right?
I hope it's not.
No. It's okay. It's kosher after party. Okay. It's not. Relax. Okay.
I never. By the way, just to clarify, I never been to any parties.
You never been to a party? You never been to a Diddy party? Is that what you're saying?
Never.
Okay.
I never went to clubs, so I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, everybody just to understand.
You went to Torah Club.
No, not
you
even
went
Torah
to the
Club.
Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club.
So,
all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm at a, believe it or not, a nightclub.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, people are dancing. Yeah. No.
I'm just kidding.
So there's actually a great anecdote here, and the party promoter goes, "Hey, let's go. We're gonna go to this after party." Okay, cool. We end up taking a bunch of Ubers. There's 5 guys, 20 girls. We're not going where you think we're going.
Okay.
We get to this house.
I didn't even think anything yet. Okay, 5 guys, 20 girls. Okay.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous.
Okay.
And I've been to mansion parties, house parties. So when I see a house, this place is sick. Wow, unbelievable. We get there. I walk in. They don't tell me whose house it is. I say, we get there. I see a guy sitting there on the couch. I go, it's Vin Diesel. Sick. Vin Diesel, Hollywood megastar, Fast and Furious. Now you got to understand, when you're in a situation, there's only a handful of guys and all these women. The guys, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? There's only a couple of us. Hey, Vin, I'm Adam. How you doing? Hey, what's up? Hey, make yourself at home. Great. All the girls want to have a good time. I'm just like, what's going on here? How'd you end up? What are you doing? Oh, I rented this house. This is great. This is my friend Mikey. Hey, Mikey, Adam. Hey, blah. We end up talking. I tell him I'm doing social media show, Valuetainment, and I talk a lot about geopolitics and the world and money and relation, everything, and life. And he goes, Mikey, tell him the story about we say about the 3 phases of life, the 3 types of lives. I said, what do you mean? He goes, all right, you ready? I said, I'm ready. He says, there's 3 types of lives. I said, okay. He goes, the first is a caged life. You're a caged existence. You're not free. Whether you're literally not free, whether you're born in a very desolate, poor situation and you're shackled by whatever it may be, whether you're physically, emotionally, mentally unable to be free, your caged existence. No one wants that. The second one is an interesting one. It's a content existence. Everything's fine. No big deal. No aspirations. No dreams. Everything's fine. I'll take my salary. It's all good. Most people are that. Most people are most people, the average. But then the top 10%, the top 20%, this is you, Benny, they have a charged existence. There's something in them that says, I need to do more. Look at where I got. Look what I want to do. I got dreams. I got goals. I got aspirations. I got family. I got things that I want to accomplish. I got a legacy. I want to do big things with my life. Go for it, buddy. And you know what's given to you? Nothing. You got to go make it yourself. Oh, no. Man, that's hard to do. Maybe I'll go back to my content life. Nah, I don't want to have a content life. I want to have a big life. I want to make a name for myself. I want people to know my last name. Okay. I want to have a charged existence. And you know what? You can't teach that. You can't teach, try harder, do better, dedicate yourself. No, you either got it or you don't. So what's my point? You either got it or you don't. Now, if you're the type of person that has a caged life, God bless, Baruch Hashem, I wish you can get out of that nonsense. But if you're the type of person that has a content life and you're just fine being content, however you define content, good for you. But if you're the type of person that wants to have a charged life, that lights up, that wants to do something, the world's your oyster. Now go make it happen. And nothing's guaranteed. And shout out to, again, the entrepreneurs that do stuff, but you signed up for this and you know what you want. Now you got to go make it happen. So, one of my best friends, he says, if it were easy, everyone would do it. And this guy made it to the NBA, super, super famous. You know the name. He says, if it was easy, everyone would do it, but they don't. You got to put in the work. So
the reality is, if it was easy and everybody can do it, then you will now have NBA players.
Yeah.
You will set a new standard of mediocrity. So the reality is, I want to ask another question, and it's in regards to podcasting, because obviously you went through the trend. We went through the trend, not the trend, the stature of how a person makes the money, holds the money. Then there's a stature of how to get known.
Yeah.
And in the PVD's workshop, he said, you guys have no marketer for now. You don't have a marketing team, a PR team, right? That's what he said.
In Valuetainment.
Yeah. That's what he mentioned in the workshop. You guys are doing it all organic.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive, by the way. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
But how is it? And take us through your trend. How do you guys determine how to market yourself? I mean, if you don't have a PR person, what's being developed in your brain to say, let's do this, let's do that? Like, how do you make, like, everything has to make a decision making. And then I want to talk to you about the books aspect as well. You said there's not enough, there's so many books, how to read the books, right?
Yeah. If you saw the amount of books that Benny has in his house, it's impressive.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's not that it's the books. It's the reality is, today we have digital data, right? So you can read a lot of information online, and you can review, and you can go through. So just before you get to the PBD thing, I want to tell you how we work a little bit.
Yeah.
In graphic design, you have to understand that graphic design is a little bit more complicated. For example, when using Adobe InDesign or using Adobe Premiere and using these platforms, right? Your goal is one goal, right? Which is to edit that specific content or develop that specific content. But your mind needs to know how to use that application. So you have all the UI that goes around it. And guess what? You need to know at least 1,000 things to be the best editor in getting that product out there. So what I think the misconception is about jack of all trades, it's not, you don't have to be a jack of all trades, but you have to be the jack that knows all the trades. So when you hire that tradesman, you know whether they're doing the right job or not. But if you don't hire that tradesman and you don't know how they're going to do the right job or not, then how will you ever check if they're giving the low ball number or the high ball number, or if they're going to do the job to its excellent position or not? Like, you should be able to know from off the bat, nah, you can't do that work. Like, I can assess a person, he can't do that work. I got to train him. And I know that. That's like many times in what I do, I got to train people. I got to say, no, you're not doing it right. You're not going to do it right. You'll never do it right because you don't know it right. It's like one time, if a person is a developer in real estate, but he doesn't know how to read architectural plans, how are you a real estate developer again? No, I'm not a jack of all trades. It's not my job to know architecture and engineering. What do you mean it's not your job? You're building a building and you're going to rely on an architect? Why would you rely on the architect? When you go to the doctor, you just listen to one doctor. You don't go to a second opinion or a third opinion. You got to go to those 2, 3, 4th opinion. So getting back to the thing when it comes to podcasting, how do you determine we got to do this podcast, we got to do that podcast, we got to do that information? I know you guys do polls and PPD. And then how do you determine your own podcast? Who to take, when to take? How do you know that you're going to get the 50,000, 100,000, 10 million views from that one individual, from that one podcast, which I think Daniel already reached over 8 million, if I'm not mistaken.
He killed it.
Yeah.
Daniel Baldwin. Shout out to Daniel Baldwin.
Yeah, I mean,
what a guy.
And by the way, he also shouted out you the real deal, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And I on Insta, right? Today, he did it today.
I appreciate it.
Actually, yeah.
So your question is twofold. How do you market yourself or PR yourself?
Organically that you can market yourself, because you have companies paying billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Or millions of dollars, depending on the size of your company, to PR firms
for publicity. Yeah.
And you guys are just generating organically.
And then the second
number one live.
Well, thank you. And then the second part was, how do you know?
No, the second part is that you need to be a jack that knows all the trades, not a jack of all trades, but be that jack that knows all the trades in order to know how to find that person if he's doing the right job.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let me answer the second part first. So we have a rule at Valuetainment. Remember I said earlier, the rule of 3, beginning, middle, end, right?
Yeah.
Anytime that you're doing a deal, anytime you're getting pricing, anytime you're going to buy, we had to buy, we just moved into the new office. You were there.
I was there. Very beautiful office.
Pat says, how much do you think we spent on desks? Just desks. I said, we spent over 6 figures on desks.
Oh my God.
Okay, desks. I said, we have a rule. You get 3 prices. Call this company, I'll get back to you. Call this company, I'll get back to you. Call this company. All right, Pat, these guys, 200 grand for these desks. 200 grand. These guys, 50 grand. Wow, these guys, 120 grand. Where do you want to go? Well, what's this? It's this. It's kind of like anytime you go shopping or even in the Olympics, bronze, silver, gold. There's 3 options. So what's the whole business triangle? You can either get it fast, cheap, or quality.
Right.
You can only pick 2. Right. So someone called me one day, one of the greatest comedians, said, Adam, you're a maven. I said, what's that mean? He's like, you're good at everything. You do this, you could talk politics, you could talk business, you could talk sports, you could talk relationships, you could talk religion. You do a little bit of everything, but there's got to be one thing that you're the best at. Right? You got to have one thing. So for Pat, for Valuetainment, it's entrepreneurship, capitalism, right? For me, it's personal responsibility, personal finance. It's on you, right? So yes, I do agree with you that you kind of got to have a little well-rounded, I think is the term, but you got to be one thing. So like you might know a little bit about editing, you might know a little bit about crypto, you might know a little bit about, well, you're a rabbi.
Well, okay.
Yeah, you're number one.
One second. Give me the book over there. I want to show you how a little bit different it is in Judaism.
Okay.
That's the difference between Jews, and that's why Jews are one of the best lawyers. So this is written by one of the chief rabbis of Rabbi Yosef Yabiome. Okay, if I would take a book right here, let's take a question right here. Okay, just an example. And this is why we're also doing this podcast, so we can educate the world about Judaism, about what it means to be the chosen one, chosen nation. It's not that we're chosen for superiority; we're chosen for achievement in life, in society, to make the world better. And that's where
is that what the chosen people means?
Yeah, that's what it means.
That we were chosen
to be the holy priests of the world, and where we are obligated to sustain spirituality and bring forth spiritual essence down to the world. So this is written by Rabbi Yosef, okay? And his first question in law, can you use gelatin to glue the two tefillin boxes together? Because tefillin is made by boxes. How many, and this gelatin is a new concept, right? They didn't have gelatin 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, or even 2,000 years ago.
What is gelatin? Glue? What is
type of glue?
Okay.
Yes, type of glue. They call
it's like kosher glue?
Yeah, it's like, no, it's called gelatin. It's he calls it, that's what they call, lock. He calls it lock, like a glue. Now, it's a new thing. Can you use it? Can you put it into tefillin? Can it be part of the box? Is it kosher? Is it not kosher? It's something that did not exist, right? He writes literally 1, 2, 3 pages worth of 2 columns, font size 9.
Yeah.
Quoting maybe, I can say, just by looking, because I read this multiple times, quoting maybe 30 to 40 books. Now, he was known to be very prolific in mass library in his house of 20,000. He knew everything by heart, Talmud by heart, books by heart. There's no such thing as being a Jewish person and not being a maven of information. So what people are missing is you must be a maven of information. Because if you're not a maven in information, you're never going to succeed in any business deal. Never.
But is there a limit to it? Meaning you can't know
you got to train
a little bit about everything.
No.
So the question is, would you rather know a lot of it? You can know a lot of bit about one thing or a little bit about everything?
No, you need to know today's society.
Yeah.
You need to know something about everything, but then master a few things.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, but why am I saying this? Because I'll give you an example. When you're doing a business deal right now, a lawyer gives you a contract. Are you really going to trust that lawyer? I mean, you might like the lawyer. Yeah, he's all good. He's all kosher and all that. But you're not going to read that contract yourself? Why wouldn't you read that contract yourself? You're signing it. Yeah, he might tell you it's good to go. What do you mean it's good to go? What are my details? Mm-hmm. What's the moral clause? What's this clause? What's that clause? Like, you want to know, right? You want to educate yourself. So, better example. All right, we saw my neighbor, right? He's a gym guy, right? Yeah, he's a gym guy.
He was fixing the roof. He was doing on a ladder. Yeah, he's strong.
See, shout out
he's
to you,
also a barber.
Yeah, shout out to you, Gabe. Right?
Good guy.
Euro Barber Shop, downtown, guys, or no, uptown, midtown, near NYU. So anyway, just shout out for him. Make him feel happy a little bit. Yeah. So what is it? What is he? Go to the gym. You work out.
Yeah.
You're gonna go every day, right? How many tools are you going to use to work out? You're going to focus on every part of your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to be one of those guys that's top heavy. You're this big and you got
little baby.
You got two little legs. You're running around.
Like,
relax, buddy. You're going to tip over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you're going to train, right? You're going to train your body. When it comes to mental fortitude, if your mind is not constantly being trained, you already lost.
Yeah.
You can't be, like you said, even if you're a millionaire, there's a concept in Torah, you have to be a millionaire here.
Oh, yeah.
Your mind has to be rich in information and data. It's human eye, not AI.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a trademark we're working on. Human eye, not AI. All right. That means we have to work on our human intelligence, not just our artificial intelligence. That means the mind needs to be strong and constantly strong. And the reason why I say, and that's the real entrepreneur. You know a lot. Don't tell me you're not a maven. You're a maven, and it's not good to be a jack of all trades, but to be a jack of some trades, that's pretty good, right? You need that as an entrepreneur. You cannot not do that. I mean, if you're in the real estate market, you got to understand markets. You got to understand buildings. You got to understand zoning. You got to understand the building codes. You got to understand how the materials are bought, how the materials are made. It's not one thing. It's many things encompass to that one macro thing.
Can I, I love what you're saying because I agree with it. Remember earlier I said I like infographics.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to give me a whole story. I could just look at an image. Got it.
Right.
So what I only give advice that worked for me. Now, someone might hear it and be like, I love it. And someone might say, no, I don't want to do it. So, the timeless curve, the sands of time, what's it called?
Yes. The hourglass.
An hourglass figure. So what worked for me was the hourglass figure of life. I started wide, right? Real estate and networking and hospitality and stand-up comedy and clubs and football and sports. And I was a teacher. I did all these things, but I was broke. But I knew a lot of different things. But then I said, I'm doing nothing but this one thing, and became an expert for 10 years, this one thing. And now on the second half of the hourglass, second part, now I have all this experience, all this stuff. So what's my point? You kind of got to have a little bit of both. Is it better to be a generalist or a specialist? Right? So you ever go to get the dentist? My brother-in-law is a general dentist. He'll do a cavity, he'll do a filling, he'll do a cleaning. Oh, you need a root canal. No. Let's bring in the
special
orthodontist, whatever.
Right.
What's better? So the reality is you kind of need a little bit of both in your life. They say that the riches are in the niches. So, but at the same time, you kind of got to know a little bit about everything, but not everything about everything. So there is a healthy balance. There's what you're saying. But what's your number one specialty, Benny? Your number one specialty?
Research and development.
Okay, but
that's my number one. I know how to research information. I can give you a prospect of what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can show you how to cut corners, how to save time. Let's say you're developing something. I give you an example. It's not that it's there. Let's say I analyzed how you do your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I can say, but if you do it this way and that way, you'll save X amount of money, and you'll be able to do it faster.
Efficiency.
Yeah.
You should work for DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency.
No, I'm not going to work for them. I'm working for.
But how much better are you at R&D than editing?
I'm pretty good at editing.
But how much better?
Probably R&D is much better. Yeah.
Much better.
Yes.
But you're okay.
I'm okay with our.
That's my point.
Yeah.
You have to be great at one thing and then know a little bit about everything else. But you have to be great at one thing. Because show me somebody who's not great at least one thing who's successful. One thing. If you don't have one thing, I learned this in Miami.
There's a lot of people who could be great at one thing and not successful.
But show me someone who's successful that isn't great at one thing. I don't care all the other companies that Elon Musk built. If he never built Tesla, he wouldn't have a thing.
Yeah, but Tesla wasn't created by him. You know that.
He wasn't the founder, but he
bought
made it
Tesla,
successful.
He made it successful.
Yeah.
But you know how he made it successful, right? In a recent interview, what did he say he did?
What
he said the engineers couldn't get the Tesla. Forget Tesla. Let's say SpaceX.
Yeah.
Tesla put aside for now. SpaceX. When he started SpaceX, the engineers couldn't get that thing running properly. You know what he did?
What did he do?
He said in Joe Rogan, he read how to build a rocket. And he put the rocket together himself to make it efficient.
He's freaking Elon Musk.
No, what I'm trying to tell you is, listen. Okay, I'll give you another example. One of the, I don't know if I should drop her name. Maybe she doesn't want, but from PBD Consulting, right? She said something very smart. She said that Pat was able to develop a team. I'm like, yeah, but there's a difference between Pat and me.
Mm-hmm.
Pat succeeded with this company that he did, sold it, and now he has reserve money, right?
Yes.
So he can hire the right people and fire the right people that he needs to, right? So I don't have that opportunity. I became a rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm in the business world for 10 years, and we have people who gave me the money. But you're not looking at the other side of the coin. The fact that I'm able to do a lot is I say what it would have cost me $10 million to do, I did it for $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have had the same time, same results.
Efficiency.
Yeah, not necessarily by throwing money. Like, for example, They just reported Kamala Harris actually spent $2.5 billion.
Not $1 billion. It was more
Not
than
1.5. It's actually 2.5.
Worst return on investment.
Worst return on investment. And what does it tell you? Not always storing money on a project makes the project successful.
No doubt.
So the same thing I say is not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't be a maven, but by being in one niche market, right? What happens is you lose the other things you need today. So for example, we had many comic book, creators in our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And these comic book creators, what happened was they don't have the marketing niche because they're focusing on making comics, right? But their comics are great stories to tell. They can become huge stories. But poor guys, they don't know. They're not into the new age podcasting or the new age of selling on online because there's no more retail stores. Right now, Party City just went bankrupt.
Party City went bankrupt?
Yeah, they just filed for bankruptcy. Yeah,
how are we going to do an after party?
I don't know.
How are we going to end up at Diddy's side? It's never.
God forbid.
It's over.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is there room, or maybe I'm interpreting it wrong. I think the entrepreneur needs to be that maven, but the entrepreneur needs to be that niche. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how I look at it. I mean,
we're both right because we're saying the same thing. You got to have a specialty, but you also need to know about a bunch of different things
right.
for an entrepreneur. But also, there's only a certain amount of time in the day. So, for instance, Pat tells this story. He goes, because of the military, you know what I like doing? Weird reason. I like ironing and I like shining my shoes. It's from the military. I don't know. I said, okay. He goes, but you think I'm doing my own dry cleaning? You think I'm cleaning my own shoes? I outsource it. I outsource my weaknesses. Today, I'm running late today because I tried to iron my shirt and World War III almost broke out. Looking for a Tide pen over here, and I think I cleaned it. But because I'm traveling, I'm ironing my own thing. I don't want to iron. I don't want to do things that deviate from my number one thing. So when you make some money, you can throw some money at issues and problems. That can be a very good thing. You outsource your weaknesses. I don't do my own dry cleaning. Why don't I buy real estate? Unbelievable.
Right.
I own real estate, but I don't own real estate. What do I mean? What am I talking about? Because I said, I like to move. I like to keep my flexibility high. I don't know where I'm going in life. Now I'm for sure in South Florida, but there was a time I wasn't sure. I said, the stock market, if it's just pure data, is a better investment than real estate, sure, but I also want to have some exposure to real estate. So what did I do? I bought something called REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust, where you can invest in commercial properties without, the last thing I want to be doing is screwing a light bulb, painting a fence, fixing a toilet. I don't want to do that.
Right.
I don't want to do it. So I'd rather pay a company to put these real estate trusts together and give them their commission, or I'd rather hire someone to do the plumbing if I own the house, or hire somebody to paint, whatever, because time is money. So yeah, if you're in real estate and if you're a developer and this is your business, yeah, maybe you should understand architecture a little bit. I'm not in that world. Right. So I outsource that.
Right.
But it's playing to your strengths,
right? But what you're doing
and outsourcing your weaknesses.
No doubt. But what you're doing is something very smart. It's like you want to be in the real estate game, but you're not in the real estate game, which makes sense if you don't want that headache, right? Obviously, we only have one big real estate project. We're focusing on that for 10 years. I don't want to go into any more real estate after that. That's not for me. If I do it, like you said, it's going to be more. Okay, what group is there? Who's managing it? I see the persons that are managing it. Okay, they're trustworthy. Like the REITs kind of thing you're doing, but it's not necessarily a full trust. It's like a half and half kind of thing.
Because you said one thing that was super important, Benny. You said, "Oh, I don't want it to be a headache, right?"
Right.
Last night we were at dinner,
and
we were talking with our friends it was like the after party of dinner. We were talking about the insurance stuff, or whatever. And I said, my number one thing right now is eliminating headaches.
Right.
And I learned that from PBD. He said I would take account of all the people in my life and who gives me the most headaches. This person, I love them, but it's a headache. They're not my friend, but they're really good. 0 headaches. This person, I love them, but it's all headaches. And it's like a headache rating. So, yeah.
We should create an app.
There you go.
The headache rating.
Oh,
Headache rating. Let's
I'm show you now the headache. Oh, yeah, my cabeza. So, this goes to efficiency.
Right.
It's not just financial efficiency, it's also emotional efficiency, right? Because where do you dedicate your time and effort? There's one person I'm thinking of. I love this person. They're amazing, but they always give me a headache.
It's the Rabbi Benny, by the way.
It's not Rabbi Benny. Rabbi Benny, no headaches. And I said, I don't want this person not in my life. I don't want to not work with this person anymore. But maybe I'm giving this person a little too much time or responsibility. So let me pull back on it, pull. And now I have way less headaches with that person. Mm-hmm. Now I don't have some of the upside that person gets, but the upside is no headaches. Mm. What's a better upside than not being like, oh my God? So eliminating headaches is a big thing. Is a big thing. For everyone, right?
Getting back to the question, how do you guys determine in a podcast who to take, who not to take? I mean,
how do we determine who to take? How do we determine how to market it? How do we determine?
Well, obviously, whoever you pick, you guys already have a system that I don't think anyone else is using in building and creating podcasts, honestly.
It's not a secret. It's not some sort of special sauce. We have something called a meeting.
No, besides the
no,
meeting.
I know. And then in this meeting, we talk. No, I'm not. But we have a booking meeting. Here's what I will tell you, because it's bigger than maybe just the pick of the podcast. I've never seen someone as efficient with their time as PBD. If you look at his calendar, I said we have a podcast prep at 2:00. Like 2:00, I better be on this meeting.
Yeah, you'll be.
It's 2 to 2:30. And then 2:30 to 3, there's lunch. From 3 to 4, we're doing a booking meeting. From 4 to 5, there's a Manek meeting, whatever it is. Bing, ding, bing, bing, bing. And when you do that, not every day, every week, every month, every year, how efficient can you be? So you get stuff done. So I'm a pretty systematic person, pretty methodical. Even last night, I was like, so Benny, we're going to come here at the podcast. And then at 1:00, we're going to do lunch. And then we're going to do, I'm a systematic person. So what I've learned from Pat is that if you can systematically insert meetings or just priorities into your daily life, that's how you GSD, get done. So getting guests, you think we spend all day getting guests? 1 hour. This person, yes. This person, no. Yes, no. Bing, bing, ding, ding.
So let's go.
And then, ready? You think PBD is making all the calls? We have Tony the Booker.
Right.
Then Tony, that's his specialty.
Okay, so let's say, for example, Daniel. We wanted to get Daniel.
Daniel.
How did the decision process go to get Daniel?
So for Daniel, it was pretty easy. We had Stephen Baldwin on. Right? So everyone, Alec Baldwin is the most famous brother. He's in the news for good and for bad. So obviously Stephen Baldwin, the father of Haley Baldwin, the father-in-law of Justin Bieber.
Wow, that's a no-brainer.
Hollywood. And how did we get Daniel Baldwin? It's actually a story that involves Rabbi Benny. It was October 7th. We did a podcast. It was great. It was a meeting of the minds, pro-Israel, pro-Palestine, what have you. And I'm sitting with Benny, who's already mentioned that he's a business partner with Daniel Baldwin. And then, hey, look who FaceTimes. It's, hey, Daniel, how you doing? Just like that. So in the booking meeting, everyone has to bring names, each list, each meeting. And I said, hey, guys, Daniel Baldwin, via Rabbi Benny, if we want him, here's the number, and Pat goes, approved, done.
I love it.
That was it.
I love it. That's it.
That's it.
I'm telling you, this is, we say in Yiddish, bashert, right? Or
meant to be, right?
It's like, you guys are doing things that I think are unbelievable. It's like, you guys are creating, it's like you do have some sort of energy. Like, you can make a decision, and you can make a decision. And when you make a regular decision, it has to be really calculative. But sometimes when you make a decision and you don't do so much calculation, do very little calculative analytics on the decision. but you have what we call mazel. You have a mazal. That when you make a decision, boom, let's do it. All of a sudden, you get blessings out of it, like automatically. Like honestly, I'll be straightforward with you guys. I think Daniel's podcast like crazy. Like he's got. Did you see that? I sent it to you. Did you see what he did? U.S. Weekly got 400,000.
Yeah, it was talking about the Diddy stuff,
the
and
Diddy
also
stuff,
Hollywood stuff. Yeah,
33,000 views, quoting Daniel Baldwin and PBD. This is
beautiful thing.
Yeah. So realistically speaking, podcast is the future. You outbeat, I think, CNN, CBS, and MSNBC combined, right? Am I correct?
It's crazy numbers out there.
It was 266. They only got like 50, 40, and maybe
between
40.
Valuetainment and PBD podcast.
Yeah.
We're the fact that we're even up there, jockeying for position, and in the conversation between Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, like what?
Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
It is.
And
by the way, I was there, guys. I was there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was during the election,
I
but
was live.
You know, you
Not
brought
there
up
live,
you
but
brought
I
up
was there
something
in live.
earlier. It's like PR. What do you do?
Yeah, because you say you don't have the PR.
Look, people think I had a conversation with a guy the other day. He goes, "Let me ask you, why is such and such a person running this department? I don't think he's that good. And I heard that you let them go. Well, why would you even let that person be in charge of this?" He was sort of saying he was critical of the person, not the company. But like, why did you even let this person? And then I said, he was there from the start. He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Yeah, he was hired like 5 years ago." He goes, "How you guys are so big?" I go, "See, what you're doing is you're not understanding. We're a startup. We're still a little startup. Where people are comparing us with CNN and MSNBC and Fox. We're a startup. We think."
Oh, what's that? Stop it there.
Yeah.
But that's not bad.
No, it's a great thing.
If they're thinking
It's a
that
great
you're
thing.
big in 4 years, you're big. I mean, that's already
Correct.
They're already seeing your vision of the greatness
Correct.
of what you're building
Correct.
and what you are
But
building.
it's not like we're legacy media or even a legacy podcast.
Legacy media is dead.
And
if we call podcast legacy, then we're going to create a new legacy media,
Yeah.
which is not good.
Legacy podcasting. Yeah. In 20, 30 years, there's going to be legacy podcasting.
Right.
You'll see.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a new thing.
Yeah.
So the one constant is change. But
It won't be podcast, it'll be holographic.
Yeah. It'll be AI
hologram.
speaking. There's Rabbi Benny and Adam Sauce doing AI. So yeah, and he was basically saying, "Wow, you guys are so great, but like, how did you get this person?" And I'm saying, give us a little grace. We're just kind of getting started, right? And we're also getting started in not just podcasting, in the business consulting space.
Yeah,
there's a blue ocean for that, because all the
ocean.
big guys, the McKinseys and the Boston Consulting and the Gardners are out there. They don't have the viewership that we have. So the leads that come in. So it's an interesting dynamic. And again, credit goes to the prophet,
right.
to the founder,
right.
to the creator, to the visionary, to PBD. And I'm a flag carrier. And
what's going to happen with your podcast? What's the future of your podcast?
So the future.
I'm sorry, I'm asking.
No, it's okay. It's not like it's a taboo topic. I was doing my own content since 2016, and Pat, every year or two, he says, you got to reinvent yourself. You got to reinvent, right? And in 2021, after I'd been doing Valuetainment, I joined in 2020. I was doing only money content. Save that money. All we talk is money. Be smart with your money. Money. He said, what else are you going to bring to the mix? I said, what do you mean? He goes, you can't just get stale. You can't just say the same thing over and over and over again. Repetition is great because that's how people learn repetition. But after a certain amount of time, it gets stale. So he said, what else do you talk about? And I got into networking and relationships and dating and this stuff. And that was great because I hit that when it was really popping at its peak. Andrew Tate was blowing up, and the Fresh and Fit guys were blowing up, and Just Pearl was blowing up, and all the Rollo Tomasi, all those great those guys that I'm friends with, Michael Sartain, Justin Wall, all these guys. But I said, all right, great. I came, I saw, I conquered, so to speak, but that's not what I want to do forever. Let me get into politics. It's election 2024. All right, I'm in the political arena. I'm doing all these political shows. Not only PBD was politics, but so was my show, Saucecast, politics. And then I realized I don't want to do all politics. So I said, listen, let me reinvent myself, but rather than rush something, let me take my time. So I put my show on pause. The only show I did in Q4 was one show, the show with you, October 7th. I said, I'm going to go 100% all in on PBD. Not that I wasn't 100%, but I'm going to give it all my attention. It's election season. We're having all these great guests on. Trump's in the building, Vivek's on, right? DeSantis was there, everything. RFK, Tulsi, the whole deal. Democrats, they tend to not show up to these things, but so let me focus on that. And it was a great investment of my time. It's been great. Election season is now over. Trump's the president. Now I'm going back to reinventing myself. So I'm going to sort of reversion to the mean, go back to the money stuff and self-development and exit the relationship and dating and manosphere stuff. Still incorporate that a little bit, but the best thing in life that you can have is clarity. Like PBD has clarity. I've got 4 kids. I'm married. I'm running these businesses. I know exactly what I'm doing. I've got a good amount of clarity, but I'm also pretty clear that I don't have full clarity yet. I don't have kids. I want to have kids. I'm very clear that I want it, but I don't have it yet, right? I co-host one of the biggest podcasts in the world, but it's called the PBD podcast. Pat's face is on it. So I'm still in a season of, what does Adam want to do? This is kind of the Maven thing. I can do dating, I can do money, I can do relationships, I can do politics. So there's that balance that I'm grappling with right now. And I'm excited that I don't have all the answers. I'm a sponge. One thing that I had to have the humility to do, because it's very public, is tell people, look, I was wrong about that. I was right about this. I was wrong about that. I knew this was right. I wasn't sure. But I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm adapting. I'm changing. I'm not anchored to a position. So being anchored to a position is good if you're a true believer and you believe this, right? Like, good luck telling PBD that communism is better than capitalism. Good luck. No. Good luck telling Rabbi Benny that Judaism and the chosen people and the Torah is not the good luck.
Right.
When you have conviction, you don't change your conviction. But for me, I'm going through a metamorphosis, and that's good. We're all growing. We're all adapting. We're seeing what's happening in the political space right now. A lot of people are basically come out like, well, like you see what Cenk Uygur said, Young Turks. He came out and he tweeted something today. He's like, actually, I don't hate Donald Trump. I actually appreciate, and I don't hate the people that voted for him. This is the guy who was hating on that. So things change and you have to be ready to adapt. So for me, I'm going through this change of what I want to do, but at least I'm anchored to the PBD podcast, to that position right there, because I have clarity on that, and then I'm working on myself. So, you know how they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. Still working on it. We're all growing up. We're all got to figure it out. Now, it's good to have KPIs, right?
Right.
Key performance indicators. All right, I want to be stable. I want to have money. I want to have things. But I don't know exactly what I want to be. That's what I'm excited. One of the things we say is that the future looks bright. We don't know what the future holds. We know that we're optimistic. We know that we are excited. Well, we don't know what's going to happen. So, they say man plans and God laughs.
Right.
Right. I learned that the hard way when I was with a girl and I thought we were getting married and she ended up getting cancer. Wow. And I was like, what? And thank God she's better now, but man plans and God laughs. So all you can do is, we say the future looks bright, but also the paranoid survive. Look over your shoulder, but look ahead. That's why they have the rear view mirror is smaller than the front mirror,
Right.
because you got to kind of take a look in the back, but also look and keep things forward. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with everything.
Wow, love it. One more question. I'm gonna kill you with this question.
Okay, we got time. We got 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna murder you with this question, guys. Everybody ready for the murder?
Let's go.
Go to death row right here. Just kidding. If you would have never partied when you were younger, would you have been a millionaire earlier, or do you believe that lifestyle brought you to your millionaire's status and the PBD?
Great question. So,
because I have this question to myself.
Yeah,
I think if I didn't waste time, would I be more?
Remember I said earlier, I am where I'm supposed to be. I'm right where I am is exactly where I should be.
Right. I heard,
right. So,
but do you feel that regret? Like, do you feel that you could have done it?
I wouldn't change anything. Awesome. Now there'd be better decisions to make, but so I'm in Arizona a couple days ago, right?
Right.
And we have Charlie Kirk on the podcast with us. So it's Charlie Kirk, PBD, and then the crew, Tom, Vinny, myself. And Charlie Kirk, devout Christian, walks in the footsteps of Jesus, stand-up guy, loves America, pro-Israel. He's saying this thing to the audience, about all the right things, from how you act, how you dress, how you operate, how you should dating, saving yourself till marriage, going to bed early, rising with the sun, all these certain things. Basically a clean, like a PG lifestyle.
What did you just say, guys? I just want to remember, rising up to the sun.
Yeah.
For all those, with the sun. For all those who don't get up for shacharit early in the morning, we have every morning 6:20 minyan shacharit. And just a side point, if a Christian can believe that, so should the Jews. Of course. Just wanted to plug that in for all the Jews.
And this message is for young conservative young men. That's what the conversation was regarding. And everyone claps and claps. And I said, yeah, but Charlie, there's exceptions to every rule.
This is a Jewish answer.
I said, but because it depends what you want to do in life. Me, some of my best relationships, some of the best things I've ever done, some of my most trusted people in my life, I've met at night, at a bar, at a club, at a restaurant, at a festival, at a party. The most important thing, I said there's 3 keys to life. Now, I'm going to throw in a one as well. I call them the R's, the 3 R's. Relationships, your reputation, and revenue. The 3 R's. Relationships are the key to life, whether that's friendships, whether that's partnerships, whether it's relationships. People like doing business with people they like. No better what business you're in the people business. Everything is relationship driven. Take away all the cars, take away all the clothes, take away all the jewelry. Give me relationships, I'm good. Someone said, if you lost all your money, how soon would it take to make $1,000? I was like, $1,000? Like, I make one call and I'll go to work, whatever it is. That's an easy number. So the foundation of a good relationship is respect. I respect you, respect me. We have a good relationship. That's how things go. The second thing is reputation. We all have a reputation. So my reputation was Adam was a Miami party boy. Yeah, but PBD, when we threw the Soho event for Connect, and we wanted to invite all the VIPs in all of Miami to show up, and we had 300 people there, and they tracked it all down. Hey, by the way, Adam brought 250 of the 300 people. How did that happen?
Because
of my network.
Right.
Okay, because my reputation. All right. But also when I called these guys, hey, I need you to come. Oh, I love you, bro. I'm there. I love you, bro. I'm there. We all have a reputation. So if I have a reputation of a awesome, cool, great stand-up guy, he won't screw you over. He delivers. He's respectful. But also you might see him out in a club once in a while. God bless. Baruch Hashem. That's fine. Okay. I'm good with that. And the last thing, the last R is revenue, money. Like, we say, all we talk is money, save that money. Now, show me somebody that doesn't make money that's made an impact in the world, that is super famous. You might say, well, Gandhi. Yeah, it's Gandhi, buddy. But anyone we're talking about, from PBD to Donald Trump to Elon Musk to Rabbi Benny, there's some revenue behind it. And then, all these R words, resilient, we talked about, your reputation, we talked about, results. You can do all these things if you don't have results. But then there's a third R, there's a fourth R, and that's religion. Right? All right. Okay. The chosen people here. Yeah. So, I'm a big alliteration, the R, the R, the R. So I'm thankful for who I am. One of the reasons that I am who I am is because I'm a Miami nightlife guy, because I grew up in Miami. Now, when I go out these days, Natalia, my co-host, my homegirl, she says, Adam, we're going to go out. We're going to party. I said, no. When we go out, we don't party. When we go out, we socialize. We network. We're there to talk. We're there to shake hands. We're there to get numbers. We're there so people see us. Miami is, in my opinion, the best city in the world. It used to be New York, by the way.
It's still New York.
Okay. We're going to debate. Okay.
I'm a New Yorker.
I'm here. I'm freezing my tuchus off. I left Miami. It's 72 and sunny in December. So
we appreciate that.
Of course.
That's how powerful New York is. But go ahead.
Yes. But listen, for getting stuff done, New York's the city.
Right.
From living a good life. Listen, the fact that New York, Miami, New York, Miami's the sixth borough.
All right.
So we go out and socialize. So I said, what's the reason I know all these people? How do I know these NBA players? How do I know PBD? How do I end up in the Kardashian wedding? How does this happen? How do I know all these people? Because relationships, reputation, revenue. And I would always say the same thing to whoever I ran into, whoever it was, whether it's Rabbi Benny or whether it's Kim Kardashian, literally. I said, do me a favor. After we get to know each other, we're hanging out. It's not like I'm not going to, hey, go up to you. After there's some sort of connection or bond, or maybe I meet someone at dinner, or maybe we have a cocktail, or maybe we end up at a business meeting. I say, after there's some sort of vibe, they say that your vibe attracts your tribe. I said, listen, let me just tell you who I am. When you go to New York, you don't need to call me. I don't have any hookups for you. When you go to LA, like don't hit me up. I'm not the guy. If you're in Europe, don't mind. You don't need my number. If you go to Chicago, Dallas, if you go to Miami, hit me up.
Right.
Whatever you need, I got you.
Right.
From business to hospitality to restaurants to whatever you need, I got you in Miami. So I'd rather be a big fish in a small pond than try to be everything to everyone. Oh, how many guys? Oh, I am the man. Go to New York, say my name. If you go to LA, yeah, I went to the club. They actually didn't know you. Oh, okay. So what happened is I've been telling people that since I'm 15 years old, when Miami wasn't cool. I remember a time when Miami wasn't cool. I remember when Miami Vice showed up in the 80s and I was a kid, and Miami was just old people, retirement zones, and cocaine cowboys. It wasn't where, and I was the weird cousin that lived in Miami when all my family was in the Midwest, Detroit, Minneapolis, New York, what have you. But all of a sudden, in the late 90s, Will Smith comes out, I'm going to Miami. Welcome to Miami. Remember that song? Well, maybe you should have listened to it. I thought R&B.
Yeah.
Aaron, of course.
AM knows.
Bienvenido a Miami. All of a sudden, this thing, people, hey, Adam, I'm coming to Miami. Oh, really? Hey, I'm going to be in Miami next week. Hey, New Year's in Miami. Hey, all of a sudden. So I grew with the city. So there's a story there because 30 years ago, Miami wasn't that cool. It was a retirement village. It was Century Village for New Yorkers or from the Midwest people. They came down. But good things take time. What's that?
God's waiting room.
God's waiting room. Thank you. God's waiting room.
Is Miami.
Miami, that's what it used to be. And now it's God's after party, right? So, but look at myself. It's funny. I'm seeing this for the first time, but I look at myself almost like I look at the city of Miami. counted out, discredited. It wasn't one of the biggest cities. It was New York and LA for the longest time. Chicago, second city. You know, I challenge you to find a better city, a better state, a better governor than we've had in Miami, and Mayor Suarez in Miami, good dear friend. Ron DeSantis, relationship there. I challenge you to find a better city, state, country than Miami, Florida, USA. So that's what I tell people is hit me up when you're in Miami.
So guys, hit up Adam when when you're in Miami. You could go through me. I'm just kidding.
Go through. No, we have 10 minutes. What else? You got one more thing?
We're gonna close it. We're gonna close
That's it.
Yeah, we're gonna close.
I'm fired up here.
I know. At the end, we get fired up. I mean, with all the technical difficulties. But anyway,
but I thought we were going to talk Israel. No,
you want to talk Israel?
We got 10 minutes.
Well, okay. I mean, what do you want to say about Israel? There's so much. We could go for an hour about it.
I know.
Unless you want to do another podcast tonight, we can do another one tonight.
If we have time, yeah. But I think
listen, the reality is that you have been a big proponent, like we said last night in the dinner, for Israel. I personally do not respect. I know that Candace Owens is part of your team in PBD.
Not our team.
Not team, but you know what I mean. Like, you guys are friendly, you're friends, you're close.
Yeah.
Right. And then also, I don't know about Dan Bilzerian.
Not a friend. Not a friend. Not anything.
I think
dirtbag.
Right. So I did do a podcast a little bit about explaining this quotations that Candace and Dan have been quoting the Talmud. My biggest issue is, dude, it takes a lifetime to understand the Talmud, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just quoted a concept off the blue, like you're a Talmudist right now. Like, you know the Torah, you know everything. Like, where did you come from?
Like you're some sort of rabbinical scholar.
Yeah, like you're a woman.
So you just left your gangbang and now you're doing a rabbi? Relax, Dan Bilzerian.
Yeah, exactly. Like the biggest womanizer in the world. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I'm a Talmudic scholar. Yeah. I'm a holy man.
He's a sham.
Yeah.
He's a sham.
He is a sham. And it's a...
Candace is a different story.
No, Candace, I think it's intellectual malpractice.
That's actually not a horrible description.
Yeah, I don't think she's an anti-Semite, but I think it's intellectual malpractice. And I think to quote, my biggest concern is as follows.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to say this, right? Like, if it's true, I would like to actually have a conversation with her about this. If you believe that Netanyahu is a genocidal person, then you have to believe the whole Christian church is genocidal, because they created 3 wars that literally raped, massacred Jews and Muslims in the Crusades.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of other genocidal things that they've been doing throughout time. And then there's a quote about pedophile. All of a sudden, Jews are the biggest pedophiles, right?
The Catholic Church.
I think the Catholic Church has that more than the Jewish faith. And then everybody forgetting all these, like, there's a lot of bulletins that the church would put out that against Jews, against other ethnicities. By the way, there's a famous person named Daniel Bomberg. He is a Christian publisher. He published over 200 books in Judaism, but he's Christian. His famous publication is the Venetian Talmud. The last auction of the Venetian Talmud went for $60 million. It was originally the original Venetian Talmud that was held by the royal family in London, in England, and one time they say, historically, there's a book called the Talmud that gives you the historical construction of the Talmud in print. And people forget that the church tried to censor the Jewish community by burning 1,200 wagons worth of Talmuds. Like, not 1,200, but like 120 wagons worth of Talmud. That's why we have a scarcity and the real richness of the Talmud. We only have one that is in complete manuscript version from the 1300s, which is a copy of the 900s. It's called the Munich Talmud. Incomplete. In the full completion, as opposed to the other ones that are just sectional tractates and whatnot. So one time he had some power to the church to, like, be able to get access to print without no censorship. And one time, one of their guys, so there was a rule in Italy, in Venice, that you had to, wear a yellow, like kind of what are those French hats called again? The yellow
A beret?
Yellow beret, right? Yellow beret to identify that you were Jewish.
Okay.
So they had to wear it at night. They
Yeah.
were beaten to a pulp because they were Jewish. He went personally to the Pope and said, I'm a printing business. I paid you 500 like gold coins to have the rights to print for the next 10 years. I want my Jewish people to come without a yellow beret so they don't get beaten up again. So this is an example of anti-Semitism. This is an example of identity. And between me and you, this yellow thing that they're putting with the pin,
Yeah.
I don't like that personally.
Yeah, why not?
I don't like that it's yellow. This yellow pin and identifying yellow was used by
Nazis,
Hitler,
right?
by the Nazis, by the Spanish Inquisitioners, by
really? So it's all okay.
It comes from that, and by, like I said, by the beret.
You showed me the book that was written in the 1600s.
Yeah, that came actually from his printing press almost.
It was a Siddur, the prayer book.
Yeah.
From Spain.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. And I'm glad we could talk about this for sure for hours on end, because this is something that I've adopted into my life. Not adopted, but have gladly absorbed into my life to be a proud Jewish American, a proud Jew and a Jewish American. And I talked about the rule of three and everything breaking down. So in my opinion, there's three different things going on. And you're going to say, well, there's more, and that's fine. There's Judaism, from Abraham, Isaac, Yaakov, Moses, the list goes down. There's Judaism. There's Jews, the Jewish people, the diaspora, Ashkenazi, Sephardic, Bukharin, right? All the people, Persians, right. There's Jews. And then there's Israel, the land of Israel. And not just Israel, the government Israel. And what we know is the following. Governments are not people, and people are not the government. Hey, how do you feel about Americans? I love Americans. How do you feel about Trump? I love Trump. I hate Trump. How do you feel about Biden? I hate Biden. I love Biden. The government, Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, these are all people in government. So in terms of what you can criticize and be critical of and try to fix, start from the top. Judaism, listen, it's the first monotheistic religion. We all know that. God spoke to Abraham. If you believe the Torah and you're a believer in Judaism, this is what it is. I know that, you don't know the hip hop, but, a little bit of R&B. Dr. Dre.
Oh, yeah.
Not a doctor, by the way.
No.
He said in one of his songs, I started this gangster, and this the mother, and thanks I get. Right. So I look at Judaism, it's like, we started this God thing.
All right.
Moses went up to Mount Sinai and got the 10 commandments. We started this thing. And this is the freaking thanks we get. Right? So
so Christianity and Islam will not exist without Judaism.
Without even a question.
Right.
So, I'd say to my friends all the time, whether it's Vinny on the podcast with his friends, I go, I know you love Jesus, and I know you're critical of Jews sometimes, but Jesus was Jewish. And so were all his homies. And so were all the people he hung out with. And so was his mom. And so was his dad. A little respect, by the way. He celebrated all the Hanukkah.
Right.
He did the Sabbath. The whole thing.
Yeah.
He had a kippah. The whole deal. So have a little respect. Judaism, the Jewish people, right? There's Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox, conservative, Reform, liberal. There's self-hating Jews. No matter what you are, you're Jewish, right? No matter what you are is Jewish. And that's fine. You got to figure out your path in life. And I have so much respect. So I have friends who've never even been to temple, and I have friends who pray 3 times a day. So I'm in this, this nice little dance. Israel. Is the government of Israel perfect? No.
Government is perfect.
No government is perfect. Are politicians perfect? Do they make the best decisions? But who are you comparing them to? Compare them to their neighbors. Go compare them to what's going on in Syria. 500,000, 1 million people. Bashar al-Assad killed his own people. I never heard genocide. I heard civil war. He killed 500,000 people. No one said anything, right? Lebanon. What's going on in Lebanon? Over the last 20 years, what's been going on there? 10 years, economic disparity. What's going on in Yemen? Civil war. Nobody knows about the Houthis until they started bombing Israel. No Jews, no news. Okay, so all these countries around the Middle East, you know, as Donald Trump called them, shithole countries. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Yeah, if you have dictatorships that are ruled by either authoritarians or Islamist jihadists, yeah, it sounds like a pretty shithole country. So the one beacon of light, the one country in the Middle East that's a democracy, the one country that is the defender of Judeo-Christian values, the one country that is on the front of the battlefield defending Western values and Western civilization, they're the bad guy. It's not Iran. It's not Al-Qaeda. It's not ISIS. It's Israel. Give me a freaking break. Stop it. So I can't stand to hear the propaganda and the lies and the deceitfulness. And if you fall for it, that's on that person. Now, Israel has to do a better job. Jewish people have to do a better job of not being so insulated. We need friends. We need Christian friends. We need Muslim friends. You know, I got to give Bibi Netanyahu a lot of credit for the Abraham Accords. He said, I can't convince these Palestinian people that have been for the last 20 years indoctrinated by Hamas or by Fatah and PA. So I'm not going to make peace with these guys. What am I going to do? I want to make peace with the Arab world. All right. UAE, we signed an agreement. Bahrain, we signed an agreement. And he went on and on and signed these agreements. And I think Trump is going to continue that. But they say that truth passes through 3 stages. At first, you're ridiculed. These guys, they're ridiculous. Then you're violently opposed. Israel, I can't believe you're genocide, you're apartheid. But then, you know the third phase? You're accepted as being self-evident. Oh, I always knew all along that Israel were the good guys. Oh, really? Okay.
Where were you till now?
And that's how it happens. So now we see Syria fall. We see Gaza fall. We see what's going on in Lebanon. It turns out all these guys were crooked, corrupt. Some say psychopaths, Islamist jihadists. So people in America, now bring it back to being a proud American Jew. If you're an American and you have a choice of who's your ally, you know, they say the friend, the enemy, my enemy is my friend, what have you. You know, Patrick wrote a book, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. Right. Who's your ally? Is it Lebanon? Is it Syria? Is it Iran, who literally shouts death to America? Is it Afghanistan that we went to war with? Is it any of these countries? Is it even Jordan or is it even Egypt? Israel.
Wow.
If you have any idea of how tight the CIA and the Mossad are and the relationship there, Bibi Netanyahu came and spoke in front of Congress, the joint sessions of Congress. Did you see the amount of applause this guy got? The adoration? It was almost to the point where it was like, take it down a notch a little bit.
It was overkill.
But I think we need to understand that it was overkill. That Jerusalem, Israel, is the Holy Land. I have this conversation with PBD all the time. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I have a hunch if it was a choice between the Muslims protecting the footsteps of which Jesus walked, because he's a Christian, and the Jews, he'd pick the Jews 100 times out of 100.
Right.
Because I'll say one last thing about the genocide. You know, in Sudan, millions of people dead, displaced. Yemen, hundreds of thousands of people. Syria, million people. All these countries, I never hear genocide. It's crazy. The Jews defend themselves, Israel.
Genocide.
On October 8th, they were calling it genocide when we killed one person. So then the genocide drip is what I call it.
Wow.
1,000 people, 2,000 people. It's genocide. 5,000 people. Now it's 40,000. It's genocide. They just came out with a report in the Telegraph. Turns out that Gaza, that Hamas was lying about all the numbers. That it wasn't a 38-year-old guy. That it was a 38. They said it was an 8-year-old boy. That it wasn't a They said it was a 4-year-old baby. It was a 40-year-old man. And I started sending my friends these articles. You know the most common response I received from pro-Israel people? You know, I thought, oh, did you see this article? They go, yeah, no shit. We knew they were lying this whole time.
Right, because that's their...
What other army gives loose, because roof knocks, paper pamphlets, leaflets,
They also
texts,
do phone calls.
phone calls, knock, knock, who's there? The IDF, mother sucker, get out of the building. We're giving you a heads up. They have safe zones. Nobody does this. So stop it with the double standard of which Hamas and the IDF. So the apartheid thing, you want to talk about apartheid, how South America brought up to the ICC or the ICJ about Israel's creating apartheid. Oh, really? There's 10 million people, give or take, that live in Israel, yeah?
Yeah.
You know that 2 million of them, 20%, are Muslims, are Arabs.
Yeah.
They also have the Druze community. They also have a Christian community. Why do they live in Israel? Because they'd never have a better life in Israel than in any of other countries. 20%. I don't know one Muslim country, one, that has more than 1% Jews. By the way, newsflash to my Christian friends out there, you're next. Lebanon used to be 50% Christian. Now they're hanging on for dear life. So for moderate, reasonable, sensible followers of Islam, Muslims, I invite you to be reasonable and level-headed and be a part of the modern world. For the Islamist, jihadist, barbarians, if you want to do that in your own countries, if you want to do that, the Taliban in Afghanistan, if you want to practice Sharia, God bless. But the Western world is sick of it. And we're not having it anymore. You know, the number one baby name in the UK, did you hear what it was? Muhammad. In the UK. So the Western world is looking at this and saying, nah, guys, respect, do what you want to do. Don't bring that stuff over here. And if you do, assimilate and acclimate and appreciate to what America, the Western world, has provided. And Israel, the bottom line is Israel is winning. Israel's enemies have been weakened. Iran is the biggest loser in the last 2 years by far. Their proxies have been decimated. We talked about ROI and ROT, return on time, return on investment. They've spent 40 years funding these proxies. And they have what now? Nothing. Nothing. So Russia's been a big loser. And America and Israel and our allies have been the big winner. So never before have Jews dealt with in our lifetime this much anti-Semitism, right? I dealt with a little bit of anti-Semitism when I played college football 20 years ago. Nothing compared to what we're seeing today. We're getting a tiny little glimpse, a taste of what our grandparents dealt with in the pogroms in Russia and Poland,
right,
or in World War II. We're getting a little taste. And if you don't speak out about it, you could be next. If you don't learn from history, you're destined to repeat it. So American values are winning. Judeo-Christian values are winning. Israel is winning. And the losers, the axis of resistance, the axis of losers, the truth passes through 3 phases. And it's becoming self-evident that not only America, but Israel and our common values will outshine, because good will defeat bad. And as MLK once said, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. So good things are happening, and we're in 2024, about to be 2025. It's happy Hanukkah, right, Benny? Merry Christmas to my Christian friends. Yeah. And the future looks bright. Let's go.
Very good. I appreciate you, Adam, for coming. Thank you so much. We got to do this again in the future, because the future does look bright.
Yes.
Live and let live, my friends.
I love that.
Let's continue. Let's build our communities. And thank you again for coming. And it was a great podcast.
Anytime for you, Rabbi Ben.
All right. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.